It's the boy, Bubba, Lutz, coming through. Ella, clutch, flawless, can't be touched. It's your boy, Bubba, Lutz. Yeah, I need that hot take. I need the truth and everything that is not fake. So tell me.
Welcome back, Bubba Bunch, to another edition of the Bubba Lutz Sports Podcast. It is episode 219, and boy, do we have a good one. Because, ladies and gentlemen, as of yesterday, March 9th, 2021, this man right here, Rayne Dakota Prescott, is a Cowboy for the next 4 years. Now, I won't lie. This figurine of Dak Prescott that I'm holding right now, I bought a week and a half ago. This was right when the rumors of Russell Wilson wanting to come to Dallas in a trade were going through. There could have been a very good chance that this figurine that I bought for $20 in a store at Dallas Galleria would have been wouldn't have aged well. It wouldn't have aged well. But luckily for us, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have Dak right by my side because he's daddy. My father, my literal father, Dak Prescott, signs a 4-year, $160 million deal to stay in Dallas, which includes a no-trade clause. He's going to earn $42 million a year over the next 3 years, and $75 million of that is in the first season, $66 million signing bonus. The chunk of change this man is getting, the direct deposit, just feels so damn good for Rayne. Man, it feels great. If you've listened to the podcast, if you know me, if you know my existence, you know how much I love Dak Prescott. I got the poster behind me. I got the jersey on. I got a figurine. I've said it time and time again that this man is a Hall of Fame worthy quarterback. He is going to be amazing. And one of the reasons why I fell in love with the game of football again, and one of the reasons why I fell in love with the Cowboys again in 2016, the only issue or question I really have with this contract is, why did it take so long? Why did it come to this point when you've had a good 2 years to really get this deal done, when you gave contracts to Ezekiel Elliott, when you gave contracts to Jalen Smith, when you're giving contracts, extensions to Lyle Collins, granted that is a great pickup. You give Blake Jarwin the extension, you go out and get free agents, but you don't sign your guy. The Russell Wilson stuff, well, if Dak's your guy, why not sign him? Why? Why did it take so long for this to happen when you could have gotten him cheaper? You could have got him for $35 million last year. You could have got him for $32 million 2 years ago. Even with the pressure of Carson Wentz and Jared Goff getting their extensions in their respective teams that they are no longer with. Dak, for me, was out of the three, the most confident, most yes franchise guy that you will have. Carson Wentz is very talented and he's very athletic. He's a great quarterback still in my eyes, and I think he's going to do great in Indianapolis with the Colts. Go check out that podcast if you haven't already. Yet, I still think that Dak Prescott is a better leader. He still has a lot to develop as far as his arm and his legs, his decision-making. There's been proven times, man, that 2016, the rookie season, amazing. A historic season for Dak Prescott. Second year, kind of a step back, but I think it was just a whole year for a step back of the Cowboys organization. And then the third year, when he developed that arm, when he worked in the offseason with John Kitna, his quarterback coach at the time, and his deep ball improved tremendously. His decision-making improved tremendously. And his overall leadership, he took over this team and became just a great, I guess you could say father figure, but I think there's a brotherhood between him and a lot of his teammates that you see it on Twitter all the time. That even guys that are not with the Cowboys anymore, they say respect and credit to Dak Prescott. He deserved this money and he earned this money. Damn right he did, because even through the injury that was devastating in that Giants game in 2020, that man was in the Star. He was in the facility almost every day, rehabbing, being there for his teammates, showing them that even with this horrific injury, he's still a Cowboy. He's still a part of that team. And unfortunately, with the way that they ended the season, would it be different with Dak there? I think 100% they would have won that game. Would it have mattered since Washington won their game that night against Philadelphia? Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't really matter. But at least you go into the offseason knowing that we have our guy that we're going to sign, and we have a positive outlook on this season despite not making it to the playoffs. Because they know what the issue is. We know what the offense can do. And it's only going to get better next year with Lyle Collins coming back from injury, from Tyron Smith coming back from injury. I really think they should go all in with Connor McGovern over Connor Williams at left guard. You have Tyler Biadasz, who is the future of that center position for the Cowboys. I wouldn't go as far as Travis Frederick 2.0, but that man is from Wisconsin. He's a big boy, and he's damn athletic. And you also have Zach Martin. Now, luckily, with a lot of those names I just named, Smith, Collins, and Martin, they have restructured these deals because one of the biggest concerns out of this contract for Dak Prescott is that it allowed the Cowboys to go over the salary cap. And now with the restructuring of their deals, maybe a few more are coming, including Ezekiel Elliott, which I think is the best idea for the Cowboys. And if he doesn't like it, send him packing. $19 million roughly around in the salary cap that has been deflated this year but will inflate over the next few years. This is a great position for the Cowboys to re-sign some of their big defensive holes, including, let's say, Gerald McCoy, who came out and said that he would like a return to Tampa Bay. Why wouldn't you? They just won the Super Bowl. But he does like Dallas a lot. He never got to play for Dallas due to that injury in training camp last year. So I would like to see Gerald McCoy come back. And you also have some guys that you may want to re-sign, like Randy Gregory, Aldon Smith. And you have some concerns in the secondary, whether or not you want to go with Jordan Lewis again, whether or not you want to go for Anthony Brown, if you want to trade him, Chidobe Awuzie. These are nice problems to have when you have money. I think the Cowboys are doing the right things this offseason, and it started with Dak Prescott. If you haven't seen that video or the podcast where I talk about their offseason moves, what they should do, go check that out as well. Plugging the podcast. Very important, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of things they need to get done, but this was priority number one, and I'm glad they got it out of the way. It's about damn time. They just got it done at the franchise tag deadline, which we also can talk about in a little bit. Maybe a different podcast, because one of the big names in the running back position, Aaron Jones, does not get tagged. He's now a free agent. Miami sounds really good. The New York Jets sound really good. Green Bay still interested in him, but I don't think they'll go that way. We'll talk about it in a little bit. For the Cowboys, this had to be done. So I don't think there's much to talk about of why this deal got done. Of like, why did they go for Dak Prescott when they could have gone? Like, that's not the reason why I'm here today. I'm here to call out some people. I'm here to call out Colin Cowherd. You hoodlum. Trying to be nice. As soon as this deal gets done, Colin Cowherd goes and says, what Dak Prescott are we going to get? Are we going to get winning Dak, or are we going to get stats Dak? I didn't even need to watch the video. I didn't need to watch the segment. By your title, by your headline, you are already undermining the fact that a proven quarterback that can put up numbers, that can put up leadership wins in his first 5 years in the league, and development, progression throughout the years. You are undermining that, and you're already questioning the fact whether or not this was a good deal or not. It's not even a Dak Prescott thing at this point. It's an NFL hypocrisy. Like, how come we spend all the time in the world on teams that don't have a quarterback, and they say, just get a quarterback. You just need a quarterback. When you get your quarterback, take care of him. Like, make sure that he is there, because it is hard to find a proven guy, a franchise guy. We've seen history in just the last decade that just because you get a first-round quarterback doesn't mean you're set. Ask the Jets. Ask the Bengals. Ask the Jaguars. Ask the Bears. Just because you got a first rounder doesn't mean you're set. You can be lucky and get a Deshaun Watson. Well, guess what? Houston's screwing that up. You can be lucky and get a Trevor Lawrence, let's say, for instance. Now, he hasn't proven himself, but I think we can all agree here that Trevor Lawrence will be great in the NFL. Joe Burrow's doing really great things in Cincinnati, even though the Bengals is a terrible organization, and they're probably going to ruin his career. There are times where you get lucky. Baltimore didn't expect Lamar Jackson to be Lamar Jackson. But good for them. They got their guy, and they didn't know it at first, but they eventually figured it out. How about you ask Sam Darnold and the Jets? They're breaking apart. The breakup's happening, ladies and gentlemen. It's been reported that they're going to part ways with Sam Darnold eventually. Look at Josh Rosen. As much as I hate to say it, Josh Rosen was a bust. I still think he gets one more chance. I want him to have one more chance, but it happens. Arizona just moved on immediately. How about we look at the last 10 years all across, like RG3. Yes, it ended up working out for a year, and then it just went completely bonkers after that for the Washington football team. Almost said the name. But you get my point here, is that you don't automatically become great because you get a first-round draft pick quarterback. More often than not, that guy's not going to make it. That guy is not going to be a Josh Rosen, a Patrick Mahomes. Not going to say it's impossible. I'm just saying that when you have your guy, you know it. And why would you ever let go to put yourself through the process? That's what I have a problem with when it comes to Dak Prescott and whether or not people agree with it or not for him to sign. I want a team right now. Let's say you're a fan of the Denver Broncos. Let's say you're a fan of the New York Jets. If you're a fan of the New York Giants. If you're a fan of the Carolina Panthers. And I'm throwing names out there. But all of these teams have something in common. They need a franchise guy. Drew Lock, it's more likely that he's not the guy. In New York, Sam Darnold wasn't the guy. In Carolina, Teddy Bridgewater's not the guy. I don't think Daniel Jones is the guy either. So all of these teams don't have their guy. They may think they have their guy, but they don't. They need the guy. Spy Kids, 3D, fans, stand up. We need the guy. You go to the organization of the ones I just named. You go to Denver, you go to Carolina, you go to New York for the Giants or the Jets. And you walk into that office and you ask that owner, you ask that GM, you ask that coach, if I allowed you to pick up Dak Prescott right now, would you do it? How many of those teams are going to say no? Because they don't think Dak's that guy. If I'm an organization that desperately needs a quarterback, I'm giving everything I have to get Dak Prescott. Not because he is the greatest quarterback of all time. He is not a Patrick Mahomes level talent. I'm saying that for me to succeed in my organization over the next few years, in order to develop something great in this town with this team, I need a proven franchise guy. Dak Prescott is that guy. Why wouldn't you want a great leader, a great player, a great overall human in your locker room as your quarterback? Well, I can go in the draft and get a guy way cheaper. How do you know that Justin Fields Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, even Trevor Lawrence. How do you know that all of these quarterbacks are ready for the NFL? We don't know. We don't know. The curiosity is always there, and the potential is always there because they're great talents. But the possibility of Dak Prescott being your guy over any one of these guys is much higher. Do you want to take the probability of Dak Prescott being your future franchise quarterback, or do you want to take Mac Jones, who comes from a college program that has given a lot of great quarterbacks from college that don't work out in the NFL? Jalen Hurts, up for debate. Tua, definitely up for debate. A lot of debating there. AJ McCarron. Like, it doesn't automatically mean that just because you're great in college, it'll transfer over. Think about some of the greats. They didn't go to Alabama. They didn't go to Ohio State. And I'm an Ohio State fan. Look at the history of Ohio State quarterbacks. Braxton Miller. Dear God, dare I say more. J.T. Barrett. I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. Cardale Jones worked out for like a preseason game. And then Dwayne Haskins, the worst one of them all, but he was the most talented out of them all. He doesn't work out. Most of these guys come from Cal, from Purdue, from Eastern Illinois, if it's close to home for Dallas. Like, Tony Romo came out of nowhere. They didn't expect him to be Tony Romo. That's just the problem. That is a tough thing, and that's why it's so hard to run an organization in the NFL. What I'm saying is the probability of it working out for Dak is much higher than it is for Justin Fields, for Trey Lance. So, of course, I'm going to get one of those guys for much cheaper, and I'm eventually going to pay them if they work out. Why take that risk? Why take that risk when you know that you have your guy right in front of you that is leading this organization, that is the face of this franchise, and is a brother to all of these guys in the locker room that everybody adores? I don't care when it comes down to whether it's stat Dak or win Dak. Guys, if we're going to make that argument, and which leads to my second point and my final point, if we're really going to look at it that way, if we're really going to be pretentious and say, well, I like all the stats, but does it lead to wins? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So then let's look at one of the greatest talents at the quarterback position, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, who, yes, has won a Super Bowl, but can we all agree that he should win more, that he should have won more by now? Purest passer I've ever seen in the league. An athletic human that is unlike any other and is just so born to play the position. Aaron Rodgers is so much better than Dak Prescott. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. He is that good. And he puts up the numbers, right? Just won MVP. He's engaged now. Congratulations. He just won MVP. He put up hard numbers to beat. Has lost back-to-back NFC championships. Okay, Bubba, but at least he makes it to the NFC championship. Now, Green Bay fans, if you're out there, and I know you're out there, Green Bay fans, are you okay with the fact that you make it to the NFC championship most years, but don't win? Like, you always come up short. As a Cowboys fan, I would like to make it to an NFC championship game at least once in the next few years, just to say that we've gone over another hump. But as far as Green Bay goes, who has won a Super Bowl in the last 10 years, that has plenty of talent, has a great quarterback and a great organization around them, to say we have Super Bowl talent and a Super Bowl team to win, that is fair to say. So if you fall short back-to-back years in the NFC Championship, don't you say that's a disappointment? Wouldn't you say that that means nothing at the end of the day to make it to the NFC Championship? I would say so. If I'm used to winning, like I am in Green Bay or in Seattle, I can go 13-3 every year. Great. Congratulations. You win. You win most of the time. But you don't win at the end. Who cares about a 13-3 season? 2016 for Dallas. I say, if you look at it from my perspective, that the Cowboys have been really bad as of late, and you haven't seen a season like this in a long time, other than that 2014 year where they made it to the divisional round or the wild card round with Green Bay, and it was the Des Caught incident. Other than that year, you can't really say there's been successful years for the Dallas Cowboys. In 2016, they did make the playoffs. They did win the NFC East, and they looked really good. I mean, they looked really good in the wild card game, and they made it to the divisional round against Green Bay, and you know what? They came up short. But for me, perspective-wise, I think that's a win because we're over a hump now. We haven't been used to this type of winning, and that was a great year. Didn't they go 12-4? I would say 12-4, if I remember that correctly. That was a great year. But if I'm New England at that time and I go 12-4 and I get booted out of the divisional round, I would say that's a disappointment. That kind of sucked. You can't win them every year, but you know, this is pretty unlike the New England Patriots. So that's where I'm looking at it if I'm the Green Bay Packers, if I'm Seattle, if I'm New England from the previous years. I'm used to winning. I'm used to that. So if your argument is, well, I need a guy that wins, okay? Even guys that win don't win in the end. So how can that be your argument at the end of the day? Yeah, stat-wise, Dak Prescott puts up a lot of numbers, and he kind of has to because he's always fallen from behind in the lead. So he has to just put out numbers, and garbage time, you can make that argument. Cool, I've heard it time and time again, but at least there's something there, right? Like if a quarterback just doesn't put up any numbers and they get beaten by 30 every time, how can you really say that you have your guy? How can you make an argument for that? You can't. But at least a guy that can throw for 400 yards. He doesn't have to, but sometimes he has to. You know he can do that. You know the potential is there. You know that he can get it done in crunch time, which he did in 2016, which he did in some critical games over the next few years. Yes, there are exceptions. Yes, there are times where the Cowboys look terrible, where Dak looked terrible. This is where I come in, and I can use Seattle and I can use Green Bay all day long in this argument. Even though you win a lot of games, why does that matter when your defense can't do anything? When they can't stop the opposing team? Perfect example is Green Bay versus Tampa. In both of those games, don't we all think that the Green Bay Packers can win a Super Bowl? I think we can all agree on that. They had a team that could win a Super Bowl as long as their defense held up. When it came down to their team having to hold up defensively, they could not get it done. Oh well, you won 13 games, congratulations, go home. Seattle. Russell Wilson is playing amazing through 4 weeks of football and is a phenomenal quarterback in this league and is not getting enough credit for what he has to do in Seattle. You win 12 to 13 games a year almost every year. Congratulations. You get booted in the playoffs in the first round. Why? Because your secondary couldn't stop any passing game, even with Jamal Adams, and you couldn't get to the quarterback. Well, great. Los Angeles Rams is going to run all over you. The Bills are going to run all over you. When it came down to crunch time against good teams, Seattle couldn't keep up. Dallas, great offense. Amazing offense. Just a few years ago, 2018. Defense could not stop the run to save their lives against the Los Angeles Rams. And you had, what was his name? Jesus Christ. It wasn't even Todd Gurley. You know how bad it is when you don't remember the name of the guy? I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try. Because that's how bad it was. CJ Anderson. It just clicked. CJ Anderson goes for almost 150 yards. I think more. And the Cowboys are out of the playoffs. Congratulations. Your offense looks great. Doesn't matter. So how come we can make that excuse, or you could say argument, you can say debate, for Green Bay and for Seattle, but we can't make it for Dak. We can't make it for the Cowboys. Why does it always fall on Dak Prescott? Yes, the quarterback position is the most important in football, but you can't depend on it. You can't depend on your quarterback doing everything. Hence Russell Wilson. Hence Aaron Rodgers. You got to stop someone at some point, right? So if you're going to make the argument, if you're going to say, well, I want a winning Dak, I don't want just stat Dak, that's where this deal means nothing over the next 4 years if you don't go in the draft and you say we're going defensive back, we're going safety, we're going linebacker in the first round. These rumors, the circulation, the speculation of Kyle Pitts, tight end from Florida, that is amazing. That everybody thinks is the next great Tony Gonzalez, the next great tight end, the next Gronk. How about Dallas? What if he falls to 10? Dallas has an opportunity to get him. It's a CD Lamb all over again. I don't care about Kyle Pitts. I don't care about a tight end. How can we care about a tight end when we literally don't have a number one linebacker that can stay healthy for 16 games? How can we say we need a tight end when we literally don't have a number two cornerback that is efficient enough to take care of business? How can we say that we need a tight end when literally there is no safety that can earn a spot on this team and be good enough other than Donovan Wilson? We've given the opportunity to Xavier Woods. We've given the opportunity to Darian Thompson, and it's not worked out. But we should go for Kyle Pitts because he's a great talent. That's the problem we have with this, and that's why if you're going for win stack or stat stack, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You won't get either. And it won't matter when you get either if you don't have a defense, if you don't figure out what's systematically wrong with your defense. There are so many questions to be answered. Dak Prescott was the least of those questions. The Cowboys need to go from here and say, all right, our offense is good. Let's get some depth on that linebacker or in that lineman position. Wide receivers, absolutely great. Do not touch them. Cedric Wilson, dude, if you want to stay here, fine. But if you want more money, you can go elsewhere. We have plenty of weapons here. They'll find another number 4 receiver. Tight end, I don't care about Kyle Pitts because Blake Jarwin's coming back and he's a wide receiver himself and he's going to be great. Dalton Schultz played probably one of the best years out of any Cowboy that I've seen in a long time last year as he stepped up for Blake Jarwin due to injury. Blake Bell's all right. Tight end's fine. Running back. If you want to keep Zeke, go right ahead. I don't care. I think Tony Pollard should be involved way more in this offense. Offensive line, though, you need some help. You can't rely on Tyron Smith to be in 16 games this year. You can't rely on Connor Williams being your left guard. Sign Joe Looney again, re-sign him, and keep him on the team because I think he's a great backup. These are simple things that even I can understand and are easy for anybody else to understand. What's hard to understand is why they struggle so much on defense. If you just need an example, if you need a cheat sheet of how to build a defense, look at Tampa. They made it work. Their defense was just as good as their offense, and that's speaking volume. Yet, the Cowboys don't know how to run a secondary. They don't know how to control the safety position. They're so in love with their linebackers, even though they can't stay on the field, and when they're on the field, dear God, I can do better with film. And they need a better pass rush. And they need to stop the run. You see what I mean? Like, these are very vague things that they need to do on defense, and they're hard to accomplish, but that's why it needs more detail, and that's why it needs more attention, time than it does on the offense. The Dak Prescott deal should have gone done immediately, and it should have been done years ago. So that way they could have focused on the next few years for their defense. Patrick Surtain at number 10 makes all the sense in the world. Allowing Jalen Smith to be traded makes all the sense in the world, and letting Lane Vander Esch walk in his fifth-year option makes all the sense. Does that mean that they need to completely rebuild that defense? I think yes. You might as well, because you have Dan Quinn and you have a whole new coaching staff defensively coming in. So why not just go with a new personnel? Why are we sticking with what didn't work in the past? Just because of the system? Rod Marinelli didn't work out, and that was the most basic system of all time. And then you have Mike Nolan, who was one of the most difficult systems that you could have ever had, and that didn't work out either for either one of those linebackers. Why do you think that third time's a charm with Dan Quinn, who's a really good defensive mind? Why would he want to deal with them? Like, he's seen the film. He's seen that it hasn't worked even the most simplistic ways for them. Why would I keep them? Because Jerry wants to keep them? Now we found the root. Now we found the issue. So, what's truly based, and I'll end it on this, what's truly based on what Dak Prescott will do over the next 4 years and whether or not this deal makes all the sense of the world and it's an accomplishment, it's a success over the next 4 years, depends on the other moves that are done and the other decisions that are made in the Cowboys organization. This has nothing to do with Dak. Dak's going to be there. Dak's going to be at this level. Dak's going to be at the highest level possible to make these Cowboys a playoff team, a contender. There is 52 other guys on that roster. There is, 21 other guys on the field at one period or another on the field during a game that are responsible for doing their job. And I don't think 11 of those guys on defense are getting that job done. So, Dak Prescott getting signed, great. It had to happen. I can't explain to you enough how much this needed to be done for the Cowboys. So, if you want to come out and say this was bad for the Cowboys, they overpaid for him, okay. Come back to me in a few years when the Cowboys go 4-12, 6-10, 8-8 again, and have a bottom half of the league defense. When they have basically nothing in special teams. Then come back to me and give me the same argument, and I'll come back and give you the rebuttal once again of how is a quarterback supposed to succeed if he has nothing to work with. If even Russell Wilson, who's won a Super Bowl in Seattle, has come out and said, I don't want to get hit that much. I need help. I need this team to be better. If Russell Wilson does it, everybody praises him and says, good, man. Like, you deserve it. You deserve way better than what you're getting treated at in Seattle. Let's say 2 years, 3 years down the road when Dallas cannot stop anybody defensively and their offensive line is in shambles, and Dak Prescott came out and said it. Oh, God, I need to be protected some more. I need someone to get a stop on defense. Oh, Dak's complaining. Oh, here we go again. He's such a diva. He's just so pretentious. This is why the Cowboys should not have signed him. See what I mean? Like, see how this idea of the star on the helmet just perceives it in a different way? And if we go on social media and we go on national media through TV or radio, and if Russell Wilson says it, then it's great. If Dak says it, it's wrong. How can we get through anything? How can we do any news of the Cowboys without somebody trying to make drama out of it and making it negative? It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. So, look, this deal means nothing really to me because this should have been done a long time ago. Dak should be a Cowboy for life. That should be a 10 commandment. One of the 10 commandments. What's not said enough is how bad the rest of this team looks because of how great Dak Prescott will look and play, and nobody else lives up to the expectation. Hot Boys does not exist. Ezekiel Elliott is not feeding himself. If they don't play at the level of Dak Prescott, this is going to be a disaster for the Cowboys, PR-wise. Dak Prescott will have 4 years to play, and if he doesn't get through, if he doesn't see improvement throughout his team, like I said, he should have left. Like, in all reality, Dak Prescott, if he wanted to win a Super Bowl, should have gone somewhere else. I'm being honest. I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. But if I'm being honest, I'm being realistic. Dak Prescott could have had a better chance to win a Super Bowl in San Francisco, in Denver, in Pittsburgh, in Washington, Chicago. Hell, I would trust Carolina to do better than the Cowboys over the next few years. I believe that. I will always believe that. But now we're stuck in a good way because I love the Cowboys and I love Dak Prescott. Now they're together. This is where it's hard because now I know that my expectation is they're not going to get it done and they're not going to be able to prove that Dak Prescott is good enough to be a Super Bowl contender, to be a Super Bowl quarterback or Super Bowl winner because of the other 52 guys on that roster that just don't get the job done. That's my look at it. And if you don't agree with it, agree to disagree. So, guys, this is going to do it for this episode of the Bubble Let Sports Podcast. Dak Prescott is a Cowboy for the next 4 years. So we finally get that out of the way. The elephant has now left the room. No, I'm not talking about my ex-wife. Now, 219 episodes in the book. Episode is in the books. Jesus Christ. I will try to do another episode about free agency and franchise tags later this week. I'm going to try my hardest. I can promise you that. Until then, make sure you're a reason why someone smiles today, and we'll see you next time on the Bubble Let Sports Podcast.
Yeah, hold on. Tell me who's your top 5 quarterbacks right now, dead or alive, huh? And how much do you care about a ring if the best player got carried by the team? Now, would you lose if it been a better draft pick? And do you cuss when your team get their ass kicked? Now, do you keep it classy or you keep it ratchet? For the man with the magic. Now, who is he?